Hello, hello everybody. How are you today? Okay guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to properly color correct underneath your eyes. This is not a bruise. This is a purple eyeshadow. I want to make that specifically clear. This is purple eyeshadow. Okay? This is purple eyeshadow. This is not a bruise. Because I'm going to have some of you coming after me and being like, oh my God, you have a bruise on your face. What did your husband do? My husband didn't do anything. It's just a bruise on my face. It's not a bruise on my face. It is just purple shadow. It's actually this purple shadow right here. This purple right here. I used it underneath my eye. Just went boop, boop, buddy, boop, 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 boop. Okay. Now, the reason I do that is because dark circles tend to have like a purplish tone to them. And so I'm just taking a little bit of black underneath here, okay? And I know that this is a little exaggerated with what I'm showing here, but there are people who actually have dark circles like this. Again, disclosure, this is not a bruise. This is purple shadow and black eyeshadow. So I can show you how to do this, okay? Purple shadow and black shadow. So don't be coming after me and being like, oh my God, your husband beat you. I've had people come at me before and they're like, oh my God, you need to leave your husband. He hurt you. And I'm like, no, this is just eyeshadow, guys. Just eyeshadow. Okay. So how many of you struggle with underneath your eyes and you struggle with color correcting and actually getting that covered? That's like one of the biggest things that I hear from people is they really struggle with underneath their eyes. Not only from creasing, but by getting the correct concealer. Now, my full disclosure is there are a lot of concealers out there. Me personally, I prefer cream-based concealer because this concealer is very highly pigmented. It was actually created for burn victims in Europe. And so it heavily covers, okay? But it's not like a thick heavy. It just heavily covers. So when you notice me put it on, you're going to notice that it covers really well. And I'm going to be like Billy Mays. I'm going to be like, sham wow. Okay, so the number one thing that people struggle with when they are color correcting is they're using the Amber Heard color correcting, where it is like a circle and it has like green and it has purple, like her bruise kit. Purple, and it has green, and it has orange, and it has, you know, all those different colors. You don't want to use that. You don't want to use that, okay? So I give you permission to throw it away. Here's the thing. When you use a green concealer, it's going to look gray under skin tones, okay? It's going to look ashy under other skin tones, okay? So you want to find a greenish hued concealer when you're using a greenish hued concealer, okay? You want to use a salmon-based concealer. You don't want to use orange concealer. If you have melasma and you need to cover that melasma and you need to cover that spot, you need to use a eyeshadow that is orange and then cover it, okay? So I'm giving you the down low on what you should do. Only because this is to help you. This is to make sure that you are properly able to cover it. Now, anytime I have a dark circle or a client with a dark circle, I always like to spray it with a little setting spray, because when you're putting concealer underneath the eye, we don't want it to crease. We don't want it to look crusty. We don't want it to look anything like that. Now, I've properly moisturized my face, so we got that going for us. Okay, so when you get on, make sure you say hi. Now, when you look at purple and black across from the color wheel, again, disclosure, this is just eyeshadow. This is not a bruise, okay? When you are color correcting, you always want to look across from the color wheel, right? So if you have like a purpley blue color, you're going to want like an orangey salmony color. Now, you can see the different colors here, right? So you can see here that this is a light. This would be for highlighting. This would be a greenish hued, right? This is a salmony based, right? These two. So depending upon your skin tone, you would either be this orangish hue or this orangish hue. Okay, it would depend on how much reddening you have in your skin, that kind of stuff. Which, my hair's falling on my arms and I keep thinking there's like a bug on me. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, so for me, I would be using this salmony based concealer. Okay, now I am also going to get out my baby blender. Okay, if you struggle with dark circles, comment below, because I know a lot of people who struggle with it. I know a lot of people. It's not uncommon. A lot of people struggle with it. It's a normal thing. Okay, so I'm getting a little blender here, and I got it just a little bit wet. Just a little bit wet, not a lot wet. Okay, so again, this is just eyeshadow. This is just a demonstration for you guys. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take either a brush similar to this or a brush like this, which I prefer this brush the most. It's a dome brush, okay? And I like this dome brush because it really it really gets that product on there. Now, this kind of brush is great, but here's the thing. It'll drag, okay? But you can see if you just have that little tiny area right there that it's really just going to cover that. Do you see how it just kind of covers already? So we're going to correct, then we're going to lighten the area, right? Okay. So I'm going to take this dome brush here, okay? But I'm also going to take a little bit of powder. And if you don't use powder, I really suggest using powder. And what I mean by powder is just a light translucent powder. So I just like to take a little bit of translucent powder before I apply to anybody who has any type of dark circle or anything like that. I just like to take a little bit of powder because it just kind of puts that barrier between the eye and that circle. So I like to take my dome brush and I just like to, there is that fly. Oh my gosh. And I just like to take it. Now you can see here I have natural veins right there. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to apply that to that area. Do you see how I just lightly, I don't need a lot. I'm just lightly applying it underneath my eye. Do you see that? So what happens is when people go and they buy that bruise kit or they buy that color thing with all those different colors on there, that's good and great. But here's the deal with that. It doesn't take into account the different skin types. It doesn't take the different hues into effect. So you can use that, but if your concealer is not matching that, it's not going to look right, right? So do you see how that just bam wham, thank you ma'am, that just covered that, okay? You can't even tell that I have any type of bruise or purpleness or pimple or anything underneath that eye. Now, what I like to do is, again, powder is going to be your friend, but it's not going to be your friend if you're just going to jam it on there. So you just want to take a little pat of it and you're just going to pat that on there, okay? You're just patting that on there. And then you're just going to take a little bit of setting spray. You're just going to spray that on there and you're just going to leave it for a second, okay? Because that's going to kind of dry it and keep it from like creasing during the day. Now, I want to show you guys this little sucker right here, okay? Just to kind of show you guys what I do for redness on my face, okay? So I like to use this brush for my cheek area, but I'm going to show you guys the eyelid right in here, okay? So remember I told you you have to look across from the color wheel, right? So if you're looking at a red, like a red color, like a pimply color or this color, you look across the color wheel and it's a olivey green tone, right? It's olive color. So that's why you want to look for an olive concealer. Okay. And you're just going to pat that on that area. Okay. Now I'm going to show you guys this really cool trick here, and you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh. So all I do is kind of just pat that in, and now I'm just going to go in. I'm just going to lightly blend that in right in there. What I'm going to do is show you how I cover it up with my redness on my face. I'm barely touching, I'm barely tickling this. I'm just going like that. Okay, I'm just barely tickling my face. Now that's just with a light application. Like I could totally just wear this concealer as my cover up. Like I don't even need foundation, right? So I've just color corrected purple and red, okay? So you would use the same color for the red as you would for melasma, like these fun little things right in here, okay? You would use that same color. Look how different that is. You can go a step further if you want to. Now you can highlight underneath your eye if you want to, right? So I'm showing you how you can layer it, and you can kind of make that eye just kind of go up a little bit more. So we've already set this, we've already got it, so it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to go in here to this light concealer. Okay, and you're not going to need a lot. You're just going to need it right in here. And then you're just going to need it right in here. Okay, you're not going to need a lot. Take that blender right in there. And this is going to give you, I need to look at my mirror, sorry guys. I'm old. Forgive me, I am old. And do you see how it gives that natural facelift right in there? You can go in and you can pat it some more. Okay, do you see how that just lifted the eye? Okay, it's completely covered. You're not seeing any grayish hue. The eye's up. You've got the redness covered. I could do a little bit more if I wanted to. So that's why when people struggle, sorry, I'm trying to get my mirror to go down. There we go. So when you see people who struggle with concealing, because we've been conditioned to use that little color wheel thing with all those different colors. Well, those unfortunately are really thick. They're really thick, and they don't do well with setting, and they get kind of like all over the place. So making sure, the first step is making sure your skin is prepped. The second thing is making sure you have the right concealers for what you're trying to cover. And if you're not sure like what color you would use, you can take my free quiz and it shows you which ones you would want to use. It's just a free quiz. And so then you determine based on what colors and application. I do a free one-on-one, and so you can take advantage of that. So like I said, you want to conceal first, set, and then highlight, right? So then now if you wanted to go in, you could go in, and then you could apply your foundation now. Okay, but again, you would want to make sure that you set your concealer with a little bit of translucent powder. Not a lot, just a little bit, right? And this is when you can go in, and then you can take it a little further, and you can just start applying your foundation. Guys, look at that. Look at how well I'm barely applying that foundation to my face. Like, look how good that looks. I have such textured skin over here. I have so much redness. Like, you can't even tell. Like, you can't even tell, like, the differences in my eye socket. But you can see I have a little purple there and a little purple there. And I completely put purple underneath my eyes. I put eyeshadow underneath my eyes so you could see it. So, you can see how just a little bit of that foundation just completely covers that up. So I really hope this is beneficial for you guys. If you want my free quiz, make sure you comment quiz below. And then I can shoot you over the free quiz that tells you what concealers are going to work best for you. Okay. And what you're specifically looking for when it comes to concealers to help you when you go and look for your concealer somewhere. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.